sent you a quick note. We'll follow up
Yes,
later.
yes, yes.
So what, another?
Yeah, we're live. Hi guys, we have John who is the head of development at Neo. He's based out of Seattle in the US, and it's very early morning for him. So thank you so much, John, for taking our time for all of us. Can't wait what you have to say. The stage is yours.
Thank you, Anupam. Thank you very much. Look, it's a privilege to be here. So thank you for the time and the opportunity. I have a topic. Let me just switch to my slides here, if you don't mind. I do want to thank the team. It's been a very good event thus far. Yeah, it's a little early in the morning, so be kind to me, but let's jump in. My name is John deVadoss. I lead up development for Neo, based in Seattle, also serve as an officer of the company. And over the next 10, maybe 15 minutes, I wanted to give you a perspective on stablecoins that perhaps is not often addressed in the media, certainly in the mainstream media, which is I think of stablecoins as the new economic moat. Really, if there is one takeaway I would like for folks in the audience this evening is to think of a stablecoin really as a moat coin. And I'll come back to what exactly is a moat and why do I give you this point of view very shortly. But first, this is a screenshot from CryptoSlate. My friends in Seattle run CryptoSlate, and this gives you kind of a quick view of obviously the most popular and certainly the largest in terms of market cap. And you see Tether and USD, Paxos, and of course the usual suspects. And you see pricing and volume and so on and so forth. And typically, when we come in, we look at stable coins, we see things like these attributes. There's one more thing. So when we think stablecoin, when we talk stablecoin, there are often a few terms thrown about, right? So people talk in terms of collateral, fiat collateral. We talk in terms of crypto, multi-asset, algorithmic basis, and we talk about how we could use a stablecoin for branding purposes. Some people talk about stable coins in terms of not having gas, being able to decrease transaction costs. Some others talk about using stable coins for loyalty. And certainly there is a perspective in terms of being able to create liquidity in the secondary market. And of course, there is always the view that there is the ability to create some kind of a stable interest income from a fiat reserve and so on and so forth. Now, the reason I have this slide is obviously, clearly, these are all very relevant and certainly very interesting areas of discussion. However, I would like for you to step back from the noise and really go back to this notion of a moat. Now, we all know Warren Buffett, obviously, extremely successful and certainly very famous, and I would say often very popular as well in terms of markets and market economics. And he said something about a moat many years ago that stuck with me, and I believe with many of us. And what he said essentially was, he said, look, what I'm trying to do is to find a business with a wide and long-lasting moat around it. And with that one comment of his, he really made very popular this notion of an economic moat in the market. What exactly is this? And I picked a definition from Investopedia, for lack of a better source. I guess this is as good as any, right? So an economic moat essentially represents some sort of a objective and or subjective way for an entity, for a company, to keep the competition at bay, hopefully for some prolonged amount of time. And so why is this interesting? Obviously, this translates into increased and hopefully larger profits over a longer time duration. Now, economic moats are often difficult to express quantitatively because it's very hard to put an objective dollar or rupee or euro value. But I believe over the last couple of decades, we have come to accept this notion of a moat. Now, for some examples, and obviously, we all use many of the social media providers. We use probably one or more of the cloud providers. And without naming names in this session, I'm sure, as you think about the market today, in your mind, you have a sense of which of these companies or players you believe have a substantially stronger moat than perhaps some others. So why is this interesting? And why is this relevant? It's very interesting because Facebook with Libra, last year made a lot of noise. And I believe Libra was the very first time where I did not have to explain to my grandparents what I was doing. The fact that Facebook actually was in the crypto space made life so much easier for me to explain in terms of what it is that I do and what my business is. So we can thank Facebook for bringing crypto down to the masses, if you will. But Libra was interesting for many, many perspectives. Very clearly, there were policy issues, policy challenges, and we've seen regulators across the world discuss and debate. Libra was also interesting in the sense that there was concern that a very large entity like a Facebook, what kind of power, what kind of control, if you want to use the word control. Now, there were many of us who said, look, of course, it makes sense. They have Messenger, they have WhatsApp. We've seen companies like WeChat bring together messaging and payments and commerce. And of course, it makes sense, that Facebook would have an interest in launching and building something like Libra. And so we said, okay, we get it. However, a little while later last year, if you were following the news, you saw something like this, which was Walmart, again, another mega corporation, uh, was patenting a stable coin like structure that was very similar to Facebook's Libra. And then you say, hang on a second. It kind of makes sense to me why Facebook Libra might work in the market, and we see similarity, we see parallels. But what exactly is this company, Walmart, trying to do? And that to me is the genesis here. I believe we are in the cusp, we are at the beginning of this new wave where large mega corporations and even some smaller companies will look to use stable coins as a way to protect their value chain, to strengthen their ecosystem, to keep close together their suppliers, their vendors, and their providers, and use this coin, use this economic token as a way to create value, to create benefit for those players in the ecosystem. And conversely, use this as a way to, to stop, if you will, as an obstacle for players, entities who might not be in the ecosystem. Again, I want to be careful about using company names, but think of a very large global, let's say, grocery giant being able to bring into the fold vendors, suppliers, providers, being able to use this notion of a stable coin as the token, as the basis in terms of payments, as the unit of account, and possibly even as a store of value across the value chain. And think about the possibilities where they could make it so much more easier, simpler, less friction for people within, and thereby build up these significantly large economic moats around themselves. And so my prediction is this: over the next 6, 12, 18 months, these terms, what kind of collateral, fiat, crypto, algorithmic, is it about loyalty? Is it about brand? We're going to use this because, we can enable a system with low transaction costs or perhaps no gas These are all interesting, but this is not where the game is being played. The game is being played in terms of using these coins to build up a moat. And yes, of course, we will still continue to see, Tether and USDC and so on in terms of providing liquidity. But more and more, we're going to see the large global entities use this mechanism as a way to build their own highways, to build their own economic highways, and thereby see opportunity and potential to grow share and certainly to grow profits as well. That's kind of the last slide I had. I want to pause to summarize. Yes, there are clearly multiple mechanisms for implementation. There are clearly multiple ways to benefit, but I hope to put a seed of thought in your mind as you walk away from these sessions that there is more. There is certainly more to the notion of a stable coin than we might often assume. And we might see new, innovative, and highly disruptive modes as these things take effect in the coming months and certainly coming years. With that, I want to pause. Once again, I want to thank the team for the opportunity. I want to congratulate Anupam and the folks for a very successful event. I'll pause for any comments, questions.
Yeah.
My ID is on the first slide. You can certainly ping me as well on Twitter, LinkedIn, and so on. But I'll
Yeah.
just pause for maybe a few minutes.
Thank you, John. Thanks a lot. Just a couple of questions coming in, if that's okay with you. Hi, John. Hi, John. Can you hear me? Hello.